Hi, I am Toga, and I'm going to be taking you through a 60-minute Vinyasa flow today. This is going to be a flow that's themed around the idea of grounding, and we're going to be coming into a peak pose, and that peak pose is going to be tree. So we're going to start lying on our mat. We're going to do some gentle stretching to just wake up the legs and start to open the hips, and then we're going to move to some seated poses, and then finally we're going to make our way to some standing poses that we're going to use to help us build into tree. I'm going to be offering different variations and modifications as we go, but please do whatever feels best for your body. You know your body best, so feel free to use any variations that make sense for you. We are going to need two blocks and a strap today, and possibly a blanket for Shavasana. If you don't have a strap, you can use a bathrobe tie, you can use a belt, you can use a scarf, anything that you can kind of loop around your foot that we're going to use during some stretching. So if you have all of your props and you are ready, I invite you to meet me down on the mat. We're going to start lying down and get into some stretches here. So gently come down to your mat and extend your legs. Maybe you take a good morning stretch, reaching those arms overhead, extending those feet out, dropping into your breathing here. You can leave your arms where they are, or you can place your palms down by your side, whatever is more comfortable for you. We're just going to spend a few moments here coming into our breathing. Pay attention to your inhales and your exhales. You don't have to change anything, just be aware. And today we're going to be working on a lot of grounding postures, and we'll also be working on some balance, obviously, since our peak pose is tree. So if you want to set an intention here for your practice, feel free to do that. If nothing's coming to you off the top of your head, might I suggest an intention of groundedness or even rootedness? Take an inhale and exhale. And then on your next inhale, if your arms aren't already stretching above your head, maybe you bring them up there. And then on an exhale, relax. And then if it feels comfortable to you, you're going to take both of your feet over towards that right corner of the mat. And then you're going to take your right hand and gently grasp your left wrist, and you're going to pull it over the top of your head. So you're kind of coming into this banana shape with your body. And if it feels okay, you can also cross that left ankle over your right ankle just to deepen that stretch there a little bit. If this doesn't feel good on your body, you can have your legs back into neutral and just keep them straight like this and just do a gentle stretch with that, pulling that left wrist with that right hand. And just breathe into this banana pose for a moment here. Feeling that stretch in that left side body. And then when you're ready on an exhale, you can come back to center, bring your legs back to the middle of your mat, Maybe stretch your arms and legs out again. And then we're going to just do that same thing on the other side. So you're going to walk both of your feet over to the left side of your mat. And you're going to take your left hand and gently grasp your right wrist, gently pulling it over your head, and cross that right ankle over your left ankle if that feels okay. Totally fine to keep those ankles not crossed as well, or even to keep your legs straight. And then coming into that banana shape on this side, feeling that stretch up and down your right side of your rib cage. And just breathe here. Wonderful. You're going to come back to center. You can bring those arms down, place your hands on the mat, and just shift yourself back to a neutral position here. If your strap isn't handy, I suggest you roll over onto your side and grab it. We're going to come into some leg stretches here. So we're going to start with both knees pointed towards the ceiling. Make sure your feet are about a hip's distance apart. And we're going to start with the right leg. So you can keep that left knee pointed towards the ceiling, and you're going to lift that right leg up, and we're going to loop our strap around the ball of our foot. And you're going to hold on to that strap with both hands. And you can keep that knee up. If it feels okay, if you want a little bit of a deeper stretch, you can stretch that left leg down. I'm going to do that so that you can see what I'm doing with this leg here. And then on an inhale here, just gently hold that strap. And on your exhale, release your foot a little bit. I'm going to do that again. Inhale, pull your foot a little bit closer to your face. And exhale, release. And this is your body, so whatever range of motion feels okay for you here, feel free to take that. If this is too much, you can bend your knee a little bit more and just gently pull it forward and back. Just waking up this leg here. So inhale, maybe the foot comes a little bit closer to your face, and exhale. Try not to pull down with your arms on this. The strap is here to just offer some support. Do this a few more times at your own pace, remembering to breathe, just getting a little extra space in this leg. And now bring your heel stamp up into the ceiling and have your leg straight in a neutral position. You can put a bend in that knee if that feels okay. And then on your exhale, we're going to turn that foot out to the right any amount. So we're going to drop that leg. It does not have to come on the floor. It doesn't have to come anywhere near the floor. Just any amount that leg wants to go out. So we start to open up that leg. And you can have that strap just in your right hand, and your left hand can be on the mat. You can place it on your body. If it feels better to have your left hand on the strap too, you can do that as well. And then on an exhale, you're going to bring that leg back up into center. And now we're going to take the strap, we're going to put it in our left hand. And that right hand can, again, it can come to the mat, it can come to your body, it can come maybe out to the side in a T shape. And then we are on our inhale, straighten that leg a little bit. Exhale, we're going to drop that right leg over towards the left. Again, this does not have to come anywhere near the floor. It doesn't have to touch the floor right now. We're just waking that leg up. Breathe here. Acknowledge any sensations you're having and where you might be having them. And then inhale that leg back to center. And then you're going to remove that strap and drop that leg down and stretch it all the way out. Maybe shake it out a little bit. Shake both those legs. And now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So you can bring that right knee in now, the knee pointing towards the ceiling. And you can lift that left leg up towards the sky. If you want to keep that knee bent, that's totally fine. Or you can straighten it too. Then you're going to take your strap. You're going to loop it around the ball of your foot. Go ahead and flex that foot. Try to stamp your heel into the sky. Hold onto the strap with your hands. Don't tug down. Just allow it to be a gentle assist. Letting that leg fall back into your hip. And then we're going to do the same thing we did on the other side. So follow your own pattern of breath. On your inhale, maybe your foot comes a little bit closer to your face. And on your exhale, you're going to let it back. You can do this with a bent knee or a straightened leg, whatever feels comfortable. Inhale, little bit closer. Exhale, release. Inhale. Exhale, release. Do this a few more times in your own pace. Then you're going to have that strap in your left hand. That right hand can come on your body or the mat or the floor. And then on your inhale, you're just going to let that left leg drop open towards the left any amount. Does not have to come on the mat or the floor or anywhere near it. Just opening up a little bit. Feeling that stretch, seeing where you're having some sensations. And then bringing that leg back up to center, switching the straps, switching your hand. So now your right hand is holding the strap. Left hand can come to your body or to the mat, to the floor. And then on an inhale, you're going to drop that left leg towards the right, coming across your body, any amount, whatever feels comfortable. Breathe here. And then breathing and exhaling back to center. Remove that strap. You can set the strap to the side and then lower both legs down to the ground. Maybe you shake it off a little bit. And then on your inhale, you're going to bring both of your knees towards your chest. You're going to rock back and forth a little bit if that feels good on your back. Give yourself a little hug. And then when you're ready, I invite you to come to a seated position in whatever way feels most comfortable for you. So you can roll to one side and make your way up. You can rock and roll on your back and come up to a seated position. However it works for you to get there, go ahead and meet me on your mat. I'm going to turn this way so you can see me. We're going to be coming into a bound angle pose. So the soles of your feet are going to press together, and your feet can be as close or as far away from your body as works for you. So if you need a little bit more space, maybe you take your legs out further. If you want to get a little bit deeper into those hips, you can bring your feet a little bit closer to that groin area. And then on an inhale, straighten the back. And exhale, see if you can turn those feet out a little bit. You can use your hands, put your thumbs on the soles of your feet to help turn it out a little bit, trying to get those knees to drop just a little bit closer to the ground. You can use blocks here too if this isn't feeling great for you. You can use the blocks underneath your knees as support. and let them just rest against the blocks here and get some nice opening. And then if you are using blocks, maybe scooch them out of the way. And if it feels good, maybe you flap your butterfly wings a little bit here. And then maybe come back into stillness for a moment. And then if it feels okay, you can fold forward a little bit, placing your hands on the floor or maybe on a block. And then straighten. And then take one hand on either side of your knees, lift them up, and then we're going to make our way into a tabletop. So I invite you to meet me there. Make sure your shoulders are stacked over your wrists and your knees are stacked under your hips. Push the ground away with your palms. Engage that core. And then maybe step your palms forward a little bit. Tuck those toes and push back up into our first down dog of this practice. So maybe you start this with generous bend in your knees, your sit bones pointing towards the sky, shoulders rolling down your back, your palms pressing into the mat, fingertips gripping the mat. You don't have to worry about your heels coming all the way down. If it feels good, you can pedal those feet out, walking your dog a little bit. Breathe here. And then on your exhale, lower those knees back down and come into child's pose. You can do this with your knees apart or together, resting your forehead down on the mat. If you need, you can also use blocks here. You can put them under, in between your heels, under your chest, use them for your forehead, whatever way feels best. And just breathe here for a few breaths. And then on an inhale, we're going to come back up into our tabletop. And once again, we're going to tuck our toes and lift up into our down dog. Again, with our biceps by our ears, fingers gripping the mat, shoulder blades rolling down our back. You can keep your legs as bent as you need them. And then on an inhale, you're going to step towards the front of your mat. And then on your inhale, you can put your hands on your shins for a block, flat back, half lift, and exhale all the way down. And then on your next inhale, you're going to slowly roll your way to a standing position at the top of your mat. Shoulders drop. Come into your Tadasana mountain pose. And breathe here. We're going to be coming into some sun sals right now, sun salutations. So we're going to do a couple of those. So come to the front of your mat. Make sure your feet are about hips distance apart. And then on your inhale, lift your hands towards the sky. And then exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift using your hands on the mat, on your shins, or on a block. And exhale, forward fold. Then you're going to step back into down dog. And we're going to do a modified sun salutation for this. So drop down to your knees. in a modified plank. And then slowly lower yourself down, keeping those elbows pinned against your ribs. And then coming into a baby cobra with the top of your feet pressing against the mat, your hands pressing against the mat, elbows tucked in, not out like little chicken wings, shoulders rolling down the back. And exhale, release. Come back into tabletop and then lift back up into down dog. And then step towards the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift all the way up. Exhale, heart to center. Good. Hold here for a moment. And now we're going to do that again. So inhale, lift your arms up. I have a shorter ceiling here, so I have to be careful. Exhale, dive down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Step back into your down dog. And then coming back into that modified plank. So dropping those knees down. And then slowly lowering down to the mat. Those elbows by your sides. And then coming up into baby cobra. And then exhaling back into your down dog. Inhale, come to the top of your mat. Forward fold. Inhale into your halfway lift. Exhale into a fold. And then inhale, sweep your arms back up towards the sky. Exhale, palms to your heart center. We're going to do that one more time. So inhale, lift your arms to the sky or the ceiling. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Step back into your down dog. And then we're going to come into that modified plank again. So drop your knees down and slowly lower to the mat. And then pushing up into your baby cobra. If you have full cobra in your practice and you want to push up all the way, feel free to do that too. And then exhale back down and inhale back into your down dog. Take a few deep cleansing breaths here. And when you're ready, I invite you to step forward to the top of your mat. Coming into that fold. Inhale into a halfway lift. Exhale, fold again. And then on your inhale, slowly roll your way back up. Then just glance down. Make sure your feet are about hips width distance apart. And then come into your Tadasana or your mountain pose. Shoulders roll down your back, palms facing forward. Maybe you pull your chin back a little. Your body, one long line of energy. Lift those thighs and kneecaps up. Feel that strength. Good. Now we're going to step back into warrior two. So we're going to take that left leg and we're going to just step back and look at your legs here and adjust to find a position that works for you. So instead of being on a tightrope, maybe your legs are more of a railroad track. So if you need to shift your feet to get into that position, go ahead and do that. And then just turn that left heel back about 30 to 45 degrees. And then if you're ready, you can bend that right leg so that your knee is right over that right ankle. I'm going to inhale. You're going to lift your arms up. You can check too to make sure that your hands are feel pretty equal here. You're going to gaze over those right fingers. Feel that strength coming from both of your legs here, equally distributed. Those feelings of being rooted down into the earth. And just breathe here for a few more breaths. Wonderful. Now straighten that right knee and turn that right foot in so that both of your feet are pointing towards the long side of your mat. And stand here for a moment. Inhale, exhale. And now we're going to come into goddess. So if you want to turn those toes out a little bit so that your heels are in a little bit closer and your toes are pointing out, you can do that. And then inhale, and on your exhale, you can sink into goddess. Only come down as low as feels good for you. Want to get some hip opening here. If it feels good, you can have your palms together pressed at heart center, or you can cactus your arms here. Breathe in and exhale. Maybe you sink a little bit deeper. Inhale, rise up. Heel toe those feet together a little bit closer until you can step forward back to the top of your mat. So we're going to take warrior two on the other side now. So on an inhale, you're going to step that right foot back. Again, make sure to do any adjustments that your body needs. So if you need to be on railroad tracks instead of a tightrope, you can shift those feet. Shift that left leg to where it feels the most comfortable. That right heel is going to kick out towards the back 30 to 45-degree angle. And then that left knee can bend, coming over that left ankle. When you're ready, you can inhale your arms up. Maybe you sink a little bit deeper. Feel that line of energy. Press into both of your feet here. Gazing over those left fingertips. Breathe. And when you're ready, you can straighten that left leg. You can bring your hands to your hips, and then you can turn both of your toes out to the long side of the mat. Again, breathe in, and on an exhale, fold halfway. If you would like to come into a wide-legged forward fold, you can come all the way down here. Maybe you use a block under your hands to bring the earth a little bit closer. And breathe here, feeling that release. Either your hands on the earth or on a block. Pulling up with those thighs. Having maybe a micro bend in those knees there. And then inhale up halfway. You can bring your hands to your hips and then come all the way back up. You're gonna heel toe those feet a little bit closer together again, and then step towards the top of your mat. And then you can come into your Tadasana, your mountain pose again. So your feet about hips distance apart, palms turning out, shoulders rolling down your back, chin pulled back in a little bit, engaging that core, activating those legs, feeling that line of energy. And just breathe here for a few breaths. Wonderful. We're going to come into tree now, and we're going to do a couple different versions of this so that you can pick whatever is best for your body. So if you know you need a wall, you can move towards a wall and use that to help you with balance. If you would like to take tree lying down and that's in your practice, feel free to do that too. I am going to cue this standing up for our purposes. So we're going to come to, you can come to the top of your mat. I'm going to stand here so that you can see me. Feet are going to be about hips distance apart. We're going to start with the right foot coming up. So I want you to spread those toes on your left foot and really root down. Inhale and exhale. Then you're going to lift the heel of the right foot off of the ground, and you're just going to turn it and place it above your left ankle with your right knee kind of just gently turning out towards the side. If this feels okay and you want to stay here, that's perfect. If you want to challenge your balance a little bit, you can lift that right foot up and place it against that left shin. Your hands can be at your sides. You can have them on in towards your chest. Maybe they lift up towards the sky like the branches of a tree. Just breathe here. Remember to breathe. And on an exhale, you can release that right foot down to the mat. Wiggle it out, shake it out. I'm gonna fix my mat here. Wonderful. So we're gonna do that again. We're gonna do it on the other side. So inhale, feel yourself becoming that tall line of energy. We're going to have our right foot rooted down this time. So maybe you spread out those toes of the right foot and grip the mat with them. And then on your inhale, you lift that left foot. You turn that knee out so that your left heel can rest just above your right ankle. If this feels good, you want to stay here, that's perfect. You want to challenge your balance. Maybe you lift that left foot up, gently press it against that right leg, turning that left knee out. Maybe your hands come to your heart center. Maybe they extend to the sky. If you're doing this with more of a balanced pose, choose something to focus on that's not moving, a drishti. Press that foot into that leg. Breathe here. And then you can, on an exhale, return that foot to the ground. And then shake it out. And if you're feeling wobbly, even if you fall, that's all perfect. That's all exactly where you're supposed to be. Wobbling means your body is learning something new, and that's always a good thing. So just be aware of any feelings that might be rising here when you're doing this pose and just observe them. Try not to pass any judgment on them. So we're going to do that one more time. And if you took a standing pose only, maybe you challenge yourself with some balance this time. If you are feeling a little bit more wobbly and you want the wall, feel free to move over to the wall as well. All right, so we're gonna do this again. So let's root down that left leg, spreading those toes out on the left foot. Inhale, exhale. Then you're gonna turn that right heel in. Maybe you just stay here, pressed right above the left ankle. Perhaps you lift that leg up, or if it's in your practice and you want a little bit more of a challenge, you can bring that right foot up to your inside of your left thigh, pressing in. Your foot is pressing into your leg is pressing into your foot. That hip is opening. Maybe your arms come up. And just breathe here. Feel yourself rooted into the earth. Feel that external rotation of that right hip. And breathe. On an exhale, your arms can lower. You can release that leg, come back down, shake it off. Then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So take those right toes, spread them out, root them down into the earth. Inhale, exhale. And then on your inhale, maybe you turn that left heel in so that it rests right above that right ankle. If this is all you want today, you stay right here. That is wonderful. If you want to take that left foot and press it against the outside of that right shin, you can do that. If it feels comfortable or if you want to challenge yourself, you can take that left foot and lift it and press it against the outside or the inside of your right leg. Maybe you inhale your arms up, or they can come to heart center. And breathe here, pressing down into the earth, feeling rooted. That left foot pressing into that right thigh pressing back into it. Core is engaged. That left knee opening towards the side. Being with any wobbles or any sensations you feel here. And then on an exhale, you're gonna lower yourself back down to the mat, shake it off. Maybe you shake your arms out too. Wonderful. Excellent job. So now we're gonna just start our cool down here. So you're gonna turn your toes out a little bit. Maybe you widen that stance to be a little bit more than hip distance. We're gonna slowly come down into a malasana or a yogi squat. So go ahead and inhale. And then exhale, you can come down. You can come down for as low as feels comfortable for you. If you would like, you can take a block. You can even take 2 blocks and stack them on top of each other. And you can just put your sit bones right on those blocks and keep your palms towards your heart center, pressing in to those knees with your elbows. Allow your elbows to help those knees get a little bit more open. And you can use those blocks and sit on them. If you don't need them, you can also sink down, adjust where you need. Maybe you want to shift around a little bit, find any sticky spots, move into them with your breathing, and just breathe here for a moment, exploring how this pose feels, any sensations that might be arising here. And then on an exhale, you're going to gently lower yourself down to the ground. So if you have props, move them out of the way, and then gently just lower yourself down to your mat. And then just shift. I'm going to shift this and shift back into a tabletop position here. And we're going to lower down into Vinyasa or child's pose. Again, you can take this any way you want. Maybe your knees are a little bit wider now and your toes come to touch. Maybe they stay together. Lower your hips down. Maybe your head touches the mat. If it doesn't, feel free to use a block under your head or under your chest or between your heels. And just breathe here. On an inhale, we're going to come back into tabletop. If you want to take a cat-cow here, inhaling, arching your back, looking up towards the sky, and exhaling, rounding your spine, curling your head under, and then coming back into neutral. And then you can cross your legs behind you. I invite you to come back into a seated position. You can extend both of your legs out in front of you. If you have your blocks nearby, maybe you bring them over. We're going to come into a forward fold. So just like we were doing with our sun cells earlier, we're just going to do it seated now. So inhale, lift your arms up. And on your exhale, fold forward, reaching towards your toes. If you can't reach your toes, you can maybe place your hands on blocks. Breathe here. If you want to come into a deeper forward fold, I will offer that now. So you can, if you are able to get down a little bit deeper, you can inhale here and exhale, drop your head down towards your knees. If it feels good, you can bend your knees a little bit and take this little bind here, wrapping both your arms underneath your knees so that you have a place to rest your forehead, dropping that head down to the knees. Still getting a nice stretch here. You want to straighten your legs and fold this way instead, dropping that head down to the knees, rounding that back. Take whatever feels best for your body. Inhaling and exhaling. On an inhale, we're going to slowly walk ourselves back up to a seated position. Inhale and exhale here for a moment. And then when you're ready, I'm going to invite you to make your way back down to the mat and slowly lower yourself down any way that works for you. And then take your feet about the width of your mat with your knees bent, pointing towards the ceiling. We're going to do a few slow windshield wipers here. So let both of your knees drop down over towards the left. Your hands can be on your body, out in a T, whatever feels comfortable for you. And then inhale, those legs are going to come back up through center and then drop down over to the right. And then just do this again a few more times at your own pace. Taking these gentle windshield wiping motions with your legs. Then on an inhale, bringing those legs back up, knees pointing towards the ceiling. We're still going to keep those feet on either side of the mat, so a little bit wider than hips distance. And then I invite you to just knock your knees together here. We're going to come into this some constructive rest. So just let those knees knock against each other and just breathe here. Being aware of any sensations that are arising in your body, any changes you're feeling in your body from the start of practice to now. And then on an inhale, your legs can come back up, knees pointing towards the ceiling. Maybe shift those feet in a little bit closer to each other so they're a bit more hips distance apart. And then I'm going to invite you to take any final pose that's calling for you. Maybe you just bring your knees to your chest and give yourself a little lower back massage as you roll on the mat against your sacrum. Maybe you come into happy baby, looping those fingers around your big toe or holding it onto the ankle or the outside of your foot, pressing the feet towards the ceiling. Again, you can rock a little back and forth if that feels good. Or even you can come up into waterfall, extending both of those feet, stamping towards the ceiling, having those legs up, pointing towards the sky. Just take whatever pose is calling to you right now, whatever else your body needs to wind down this practice and get ready for Shavasana. And when you're ready, you're going to slowly bring your body all the way back down to the mat. You can extend your legs. Maybe you do one more stretch, arms overhead, and then bring them back down to your side as we come into our Shavasana. If you want a little bit more grounding for your Shavasana, this is where that blanket can come in handy. So you can take your blanket and you can fold it long ways, and you can actually rest it right across your hips as you come into your Shavasana here. And this can just add a little bit of extra weight here and just increase that intention of groundedness or rootedness if that was what you chose. But you can pick whatever works best for you. And then when you're ready, I invite you to close your eyes or gently gaze down the tip of your nose as we come into Shavasana. There's nothing else you need to do now except be here. Pay attention to your breathing, your inhales and your exhales. See if anything has changed with the cadence and the quality of your breath since we first started. If you set an intention at the beginning of your practice, maybe you come back to it now. You can continue breathing as you are, just resting here in Shavasana. You want to take one big inhale and then release it into an exhale. One more time. Inhale, exhale. And one final time. Inhale and exhale. Just let yourself drop into your breathing. Allow all that work you did during practice to settle in your body. And just rest here. I'll bring you out of this in a few minutes, but just take this time for yourself on your mat to connect to your body, to connect to your mind, and just be here in this present moment. Your mind has wandered away. Gently bring it back. Focus on your inhales and your exhales. When you're ready, slowly begin to come back into your body. Take your time here. If you want to stay in Shavasana for a little bit longer, you are welcome to. If you're ready to come back out of this, I invite you to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe rotate your wrists and your ankles. Need a little bit of feeling and awareness back into your body. If it feels good, I invite you to do another big morning stretch. Arms over the head, feet extending out. And then you can roll over to whichever side of the mat brings you the most comfort. Maybe you come into a fetal position here, giving your legs one more last hug. And then you can slowly and gently press yourself up into a seated position. You can sit in whatever way is most comfortable for you. Perhaps you keep your eyes closed or gazing down the tip of your nose. And just breathing in here. And then on an inhale, if it feels okay, you can lift those arms up towards the sky. And then on an exhale, pull those hands down towards your heart center. Holding here, maybe bowing your head to seal in your practice. Thank you for joining me here on the mat today. Thank yourself as well for spending this time here, taking care of yourself, taking care of your body and your mind. Remember that anything you could ever need is right here, right within you. I'm Sarah Toga. Be well.